Hey everyone, welcome back for episode 2 of the Thompson Teardown.
Thompson Teardown.
This is crazy.
What's going on today?
Oh, well, the house is coming down finally after literally more than a year and a half. So it's a big day.
Demo went well, and yeah,
It's so exciting.
it was a big. I remember Isla was being bad that morning. Michelle still I was like, we'll leave her here. She can stay home. Michelle was like,
And
no.
I was like, no, this is like a monumental family moment. She has to come. And I was so worried she was going to be scared. But of course, she's so fearless. She was there with me. Like, yeah. So she knows better things are coming.
Isla's not even scared. She's getting the biggest room, right? Are you gonna get the biggest room?
I knew that I was needing to dig up and save. I forgot to, so it's gone.
Oh,
It's gone now. Should have reminded me, Hugs.
I'm sorry, babe. I
You
just
knew that I was gonna do that. I was gonna save that one. That was a good little.
I didn't know he was gonna save it.
relocatable.
It was a good little tree. It was quite a nice shape and quite healthy, but I'm a little shocked that our roof had zero insulation.
They had insulation.
Brian's crying from the cold. It's not the house.
I feel like I've kind of already put my foot in my mouth saying this was going to be smooth because we've had a pretty significant error these past couple weeks. Essentially, right before we were due to demo the house, the surveyors hadn't come out, and when we called them to ask them what was up, they said it was because they had some questions for our architect that they had been waiting to hear back for a week.
whole week.
And basically what that had been was they made a big mistake, huge, on our technical drawings with our grading in the basement. So instead of being able to go up, which was always the plan for cost reasons and some of the other things we mentioned before, like water and all that, we basically were forced to dig down or have an unusable basement or a house that was 2 feet taller than we were allowed.
But we're gonna bring it up a bit, so that's good. But it does have good light for a basement. When it is reconfigured and finished in the new space, it's gonna be fantastic and very usable.
And we're supposedly in a, higher water table area. So this is solid.
So that's what we've been dealing with the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty rookie mistake. And the architect firm had really bad communication, like always. So that wasn't, I guess, alarming for us at this point. We've been dealing with them for over a year.
I don't want to drop any names, but it's David Small Designs.
Pretty much what they did was mess up some technical elevations pertaining to our drawings. So the top of the basement slab, that's something that they came out and measured on site, and they actually measured that wrong. So that was one error. And then the bigger error was that the top of the first floor, top of the subfloor, that number was based on existing conditions when we were always going to be going up, and they didn't factor that in. So the number that we have here reflects the existing conditions of our home. And when you add in that, a 1950s home was built with 7-inch joists, and ours is going to have 1-foot joists, compounded with a bunch of other things, that would render, like Michelle said, our existing basement would be less than 6 feet. So to give you an idea what that looks like on site, you can kind of see here, this is where our existing basement slab was. This is where an existing basement footings were. And then you can see how far we've had to dig down And then of course, as well as the shoring that we now have in place because of the depth that we've dug down to.
It's not good. So
I shouldn't even laugh, guys. This is an error to the tune of like literally over $100,000 when we factor in not just the time spent, but the extra excavating, the waterproofing and shoring. We've now been told that we need something called helical piles in order to do our footings safely. So Ryan, God bless him, has really been dealing with all of that on site. It's been a big wet hole in the ground. There was not good soil, which was precisely what we were trying to avoid. So it's been a lot.
So after not hearing back from the architects for over a week, we found out that they actually did tell the surveyors to just come out and plot the lot at the existing measurements, which would have given us like a 6-foot basement.
That Ryan couldn't stand in. Let's keep in mind that is shorter than what we have now.
So they told them to come out and do that. And then after this occurs, we finally hear from the architects. And we had a call with them in which they're pretty much giving us the options, but there's not really much options. So that whole call was confusing. But luckily, the one thing is we had a couple delays. So our demolition, we didn't essentially have to demo the house twice. We were able to let the demo crew know that we were going to be taking down the whole house, because this is one of the changes that had to be made. Was instead of keeping 65% of the basement like we were going to, we got rid of it all.
And I think this is just like a great time to reiterate that with these kinds of projects, like obviously this is just a careless error on the part of the architect, so that really sucks. But in general, with these kinds of projects, you have to just be able to pivot. And this is again why having a contingency is so important, because at this time, present day, we've been left to foot the bill for all these changes ourselves. And obviously our hope is to get that reimbursed, as it should, because it's not our fault.
It's not our hope. It's going to be reimbursed. The reason why we're footing the bill is because we treat people the way we want to be treated. So the fact that our architect firm messed up, that's not our contractor's issue.
For sure.
Our contractors are not going to be waiting on a check because our architect firm messed up. So they get their payment when payment is due, which thus is having to result in us paying these costs up front right now.
And keep the job moving as well, and keep, like Ryan said, our trades happy, who are people we have relationships with.
All right, so we just went to the fireplace showroom, and basically I got reality slapped in my face, because what I had budgeted for like all 3 fireplaces that are going to be roughed in the house is what I basically am going to be spending on just the living room one. So there was that, but fireplace inserts are hella expensive, and I'm very happy with the one we went with. It's gonna give me like Mariah Carey Christmas vibes in Aspen, which is what I need in my life. So Ryan is just gonna have to like take that one, and like I said, the other ones will just be roughed in, and we'll do it at a later date so that I can get the ones I want for those 2 eventually.
So when I was in Colombia, that's when I got the news that we have to do some shoring due to architect's mistake. So that was again another significant cost.
Fun call for me. Yeah, solo parenting. Get a call about this shit. God.
And so now I just got back from the site. We had the soil engineer out there, and it's gotten worse. We need to get helical piers now in order to do our footings.
I'm just kind of at the point where like I really am starting to get aggravated because of the compounding effect of all of this. Like I literally just had our kitchen girl email me yesterday, and she's like, "Hey Michelle, it's framing up. Can I come out to measure? Because we can't finalize our design components without that." So it's like, I just really want framing up at this point. And this is like, I'm just exasperated with this annoying mistake that just seems to be like the gift that keeps on giving. Like,
yeah, I mean, for me, like, you know, I have my schedule. Like, my schedule, this is jamming up my schedule.
yeah,
like,
because you still got to get me in by September.
Yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
this is like over a month delay because we got to wait a couple
Literally.
weeks for like the shipping of them. Engineer, like, there's a lot of steps involved, like, you know, dealing with this. So,
Okay, but how is it going over at the site otherwise?
It's fine. I mean, it seems like the whole neighborhood, people I've never even seen, are very interested in, the water issues that we're having on the site.
People are so nosy. We should charge and tell them to come take a swim.
Yeah, every day, I don't know who these people, people I've never seen before.
Oh my goodness.
I just got this email from the architect. This is after we sent them so far to date $40,000 that they've got to pay, and it says we've consulted a respected, experienced GTA builder who uses the same one of the same trades that we use. He studied your drawings and calculated the cost differential for the entire exercise as $6K. We are prepared to offer you a payment of $6K to close out this matter. Call Michelle. These guys are tripping.
Hello?
Hugs.
What's up?
Did you just see Hilda's email?
No.
Yeah, she just sent us an email saying she'll give us $6K. This is after you just sent your email, with the updated invoices.
Hold on. 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
$6,000 to close out this matter. They've consulted with an experienced builder.
LOL. Okay, do you want me to respond and tell her that that's insulting and she's dumb?
Yeah, I don't why would they even say they've consulted with a builder? I'm the builder.
That's not on site, right?
Yeah, what are they talking about? They've consulted with a builder.
Honestly, they just continue to really blow me away in the worst way possible.
Yeah. So, all right, yeah.
Okay.
Draft something up to these guys
Okay, when you get home, you can take a look if you want before I send it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, love you.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
Call ended.
It's important to say here that, as I've said, we went with one of the best, most reputable architects in the city, and I feel really bad for this mistake. Again, not that it's my fault, but I actually chose the architect way back when we started this project, almost 2 years ago at that point. I kind of did the short list. I interviewed all the architects, and I chose them based on their level of expertise, based on the fact that they were full service, they'd be able to do all parts of this for us, and it's really just bit me in the butt over and over again. So I feel bad about that.
Well, we're a team. We make decisions together, right?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that even when you spend a ton of money and go with one of the best people, or quote unquote best people, this still happened. So
it's like every year with the Lakers, right? People say, "Oh, the Lakers, they're gonna be so good. They're the best team ever," and then by the end of the season, you realize it's all a bunch of washed up people. They can't even hit the backboard. That's almost been our experience dealing with this architect.
So right? True. Overpriced tickets, overpriced.
Right? In the beginning,
but
they were getting back to you so good. They look great on paper. And then, by the time it's actually, about to be playoffs, game time.
Choke.
You see who they really are. So that's kind of been the experience. It happens. But this has just got to be, a lesson to everybody that, you want to make sure you do your due diligence, and because these things can happen.
So see, this is part of the problem. When you're dealing with architects, they don't build anything, so they don't know obviously how bad the problem that they caused is. And when you're dealing with architects and their preferred builders, it's all a big orgy. All these guys are in bed with each other, and that's why it's important too, for regardless of if you're hands-on or not, when you're doing something, you got to know what's going on, because then you'll run into a situation where if you're not hands-on, you don't know what's going on, a problem like this is just going to be swept under the rug. You'll just get a bill for an increase, and the builder will cover for the architect, and you'll know nothing about it. So that's why it's very important, regardless, that you're involved and you're hands-on. But I'm heading out to go to the site right now. because of the shoring that we got there, which is obviously a direct result of this architect error. Got to pump out a couple pits just so that we're managing the water on the site, because we don't want it to be a swimming pool just yet. So
okay, so yeah, this is what the site looks like. We got our 2 pits that we're just pumping out to kind of control the water. We got our shoring up everywhere, and obviously you can see all that's left is the garage. Because of that error, we had to demo the whole house, so that's really all that's left. And you can see with the shoring, like the reason why we do that is because of the water. We want to make sure the site's safe and there's no cave-ins. If you look over there, don't worry about that fence. We'll fix that fence. But you can even see at the rear of the property and at the side, it's caved in a bit. So if the shoring wasn't in place and, you know, like a worker was there or something like that, somebody could get hurt. So that's why all the shoring is there, to make sure it's safe and hold back all that stuff.
So the good news is, despite these setbacks, other stuff is still moving forward. I have tons on the go with design, tons of shopping going on. So I was literally gonna do a closing, but Sky just woke up and needs to eat. Ryan left to get her. So that's it for today. She said, "Mama, I'm hungry." Look at the width of those planks. Incredible.